Have you ever heard of a movie that's both funny, shocking, and sad all at once? Well, that's what Bonnie and Clyde is all about. Released in 1967, this film tells the story of two notorious outlaws during the Great Depression. Bonnie, a bored waitress, and Clyde, a small-time crook, team up for a wild crime spree across America. As they rob banks and dodge the law, they become folk heroes to some and dangerous criminals to others. But what makes this movie truly special are the real-life events it's based on. The characters Bonnie and Clyde were inspired by the infamous duo who wreaked havoc in the 1930s. Their escapades shocked the nation and left a lasting impact on American culture. So, have you ever been touched or inspired by this movie? Maybe it made you rethink your views on crime and justice, or perhaps it sparked a fascination with the glamour of rebellion. Share your stories and memories in the comment entrance below. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, there are plenty more funny, shocking, and sad facts about Bonnie and Clyde coming up, so keep watching this video. In 1967, Arthur Penn's gangster movie emerged as a refreshing addition to American cinema. Its portrayal of violence and lyrical intensity, reminiscent of the French New Wave, set it apart. Over time, it has been somewhat overlooked, deemed quaintly old-fashioned. However, its virtues deserve recognition. Like The Graduate, released the same year, it exudes youthful energy coupled with sharp intelligence. The film's pop art sensibility and youthful cast, including Faye Dunaway and Gene Hackman, propelled them to stardom. While Penn's subsequent works didn't match its success, Bonnie and Clyde influenced a wave of thrillers and film noirs, leaving a lasting impact on cinema. It remains a film ripe for reassessment, offering a unique perspective on the era it depicts. John F. Kennedy once considered him for a role in PT 109 after director Elia Kazan praised his similarities to Kennedy. Despite Kennedy's suggestion, he declined the part due to script concerns. Interestingly, he and Kennedy shared friendships and romantic connections with similar individuals, including John Kennedy Jr. and Darrell Hannah. Diane Keaton and Mary Tyler Moore were entangled in a love triangle with him in the early 1980s. Despite his fame as an actor, he earned an Academy Award for Best Director, joining a select group of individuals known primarily for their acting careers. These facets of his life add depth to his persona beyond his cinematic achievements. Famous for its mix of humor, surprise, and sadness, the 1967 movie Bonnie and Clyde really caught people's attention. It's about two famous criminals during the Great Depression. Directed by Arthur Penn, this film brought something new to American movies and gave us a different view of that time. Before they started filming, Faye Dunaway, who is 5'7" tall, worked hard to lose 25 pounds. She went through a tough routine, even wearing weights to speed up the process, only taking them off to sleep and bathe. The movie's young energy and colorful style made its actors, like Dunaway and Gene Hackman, very popular. Arthur Penn's directing, which was kind of like the French New Wave style, made the film stand out and influenced a lot of thrillers and film noirs that came after it. Gene Wilder, who was known for being good at many things, once got recognized as Willy Wonka by a mom in a store. But even though he's famous for that role, he was a great actor beyond just that one part. Bonnie and Clyde really grabbed people's attention when it came out and still affects American culture today. The way it shows violence and its powerful emotions, along with the true story it's based on, still matter to people. After its release in 1967, the movie Bonnie and Clyde quickly grabbed attention for its mix of humor, surprise, and sadness. Directed by Arthur Penn, the film offered a fresh look at the Great Depression era. Despite doubts at first, the movie's portrayal of violence and emotional depth connected with audiences, leaving a lasting impression on American culture. Before starting the film, Faye Dunaway, who is 5'7" tall, worked hard to lose 25 pounds to fit her role. Her calm treatment to the character added authenticity to the story. Alongside Gene Hackman, Dunaway's performance helped make the movie popular, launching both actors to stardom. Penn's directing style, reminiscent of the French New Wave, set Bonnie and Clyde apart from other gangster films of the time. The film's youthful energy and lively look captured audiences and influenced later thrillers and film noirs. Despite initial oversight, the movie's strengths deserve acknowledgement as it continues to offer a unique view of its era. The real-life inspiration behind the characters, two notorious outlaws during the Great Depression, added depth to the film's story. Their adventures, though shocking, turned them into folk heroes for some and dangerous criminals for others. This contrast further emphasized the complexities of human experience. In recognition of its artistic qualities, Bonnie and Clyde received Oscar nominations in major categories, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. However, it only won for Best Supporting Actress. Nonetheless, its impact on cinema remains undeniable as it challenged norms and pushed boundaries, leaving a lasting impression on the industry. In conclusion, the movie's lasting influence comes from its ability to blend humor, surprise, and sadness while offering a fresh perspective on a turbulent era in American history. Through its compelling storytelling and nuanced character portrayals, it continues to connect with audiences, securing its place in cinematic history. Respected by Richard Harris, Gene Hackman was described as truly dangerous and intimidating by the fellow actor. Interestingly, he was offered the role of Richard Nixon twice in his career, once by Oliver Stone and later by Ron Howard. Following the release of this film, Warner Brothers adopted a new logo, replacing the classic shield until spring 1972. The movie, copyrighted to Warner Brothers 7 Arts, marked the end of an era for the studio. Penn's direction, akin to the French New Wave style, brought a refreshing energy to the portrayal of violence and emotional depth in the film. Faye Dunaway's counterline treatment to her role, including the rigorous weight loss regimen, added authenticity to the story. Alongside Gene Hackman, her performance propelled them both to stardom. Despite initial oversight, the film's strengths deserve acknowledgement, influencing later thrillers and film noirs. The real-life inspiration behind the characters, two notorious outlaws during the Great Depression, added depth to the story. Their adventures, shocking as they were, turned them into folk heroes for some and dangerous criminals for others, highlighting the complexities of human experience. Despite not winning in all major categories, the film's impact on cinema remains undeniable, challenging norms and pushing boundaries. Bonnie and Clyde, released in 1967, brought a fresh perspective to American cinema with its portrayal of two notorious outlaws during the Great Depression. Directed by Arthur Penn, the film's pop art sensibility and youthful cast, including Faye Dunaway and Gene Hackman, propelled them to stardom. Despite initial doubts, the movie's depiction of violence and emotional depth resonated with audiences, leaving a lasting impression on American culture. Before filming began, Dunaway, who stood 5'7" tall, underwent a rigorous weight loss regimen to fit her role. Her dedication added authenticity to the story alongside Hackman's compelling performance. Penn's directing style, reminiscent of the French New Wave, set the film apart and influenced later thrillers and film noirs. The real-life inspiration behind the characters, two notorious outlaws during the Great Depression, added depth to the story. Their escapades, shocking yet intriguing, turned them into folk heroes for some and dangerous criminals for others, highlighting the complexities of human experience. Despite not winning in all major categories, the film's impact on cinema remains undeniable, challenging norms and pushing boundaries. Warner Brothers even adopted a new logo following its release, marking the end of an era for the studio. Today, the movie's blend of humor, surprise, and sadness continues to captivate audiences, securing its place in cinematic history. The final car that Bonnie and Clyde steal, and the one they meet their demise in, is a 1934 Ford V8 four-door. Interestingly, the real car has been on display at Whiskey Pete's Casino in Primalimeter, Nevada, since 2012, while a replica is housed at the Alcatraz East Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.